Today I'm going to hit and go into adaptivity and why it's important. Obviously, any business right now knows that our technology and everything that we know in life is changing, and it's changing at a rapid pace. Let me see here. I'm going to move this a little bit. I do apologize, guys, for the delay, and also for pushing everything back. But anyways, welcome, guys. Steve, Emily, Erica, thank you guys for tuning in. So going to go and hit into being able to adapt. So I was in an open house. Actually, I'll backtrack. The importance on the ability to adapt. For those who don't know me, Coach Jay Combs here, based out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Been fortunate enough, we just passed our $83 million mark since I got in business within all my teams. Super proud of what we're doing. We're absolutely crushing fourth quarter. We've got about 10 days left into the fourth quarter as far as getting new business. What's up, Tyson? Listen, Tyson, I want to have you on the show sometime. I think you'd be a great asset to show. Just young, hungry, energetic, and I know that you guys are doing some great things out there. Hey, Carol, what's going on? But anyway, so we're gonna dive right into it. Being able to adapt. So I was sitting in an open house yesterday. One of our properties sold, so I went and tagged along with Erica at one of her open houses. She had a listing appointment, and so Erica's always worked with buyers. Now I've got her transitioning into working with buyers and sellers. And, for her, I was like, hey, babe, you've got to be able to adapt to grow your business to second, third level. And so we're out there. We have the open house. And I'm talking to a couple, and they're talking about how they have an agent. They've used them in the past. They've been with them for 15 years. And I was like, hey, man, I totally respect that. Like, I can't wait to have clients that will be with me for 10, 15, 20 years. But, we were just talking. We were talking about their goals, talking about life and everything. And they started talking to me about, we like him, but, he does this, but. And what it all led up to, I guess, is he's been a creature of habit. He hasn't adapted with the change. And we all know, everything's moving at such a fast pace now. Mortgage rates, everything's changing. Real estate's changing. Just everything that we know is changing. You look at all these, sorry guys, y'all have to forgive me. I'm going to get this right. Boom. Okay, much better. So, just like everything's it's changing with technology. You look at Toys R Us going out of business. The company's been out for years and years and years, and now everything is going to automated systems. Looking at different industries like pharmacy. Pharmacy is going to an automated system. And so I was sitting down talking to him, and I was talking about the changes in real estate, and I really didn't think about it because I'm normally on top of what we're doing. What's up, Kara, Kimberly? What is going on? I hate that Alabama won the other day, but I didn't mind seeing LSU lose. But getting right back into it, I was talking about our listing presentation and changes, and I look back at it from literally I made changes to my listing presentation just a few months ago, and I was looking at it, and there's so much that had already changed. Like what we thought was valuable 6 months ago is not valuable anymore. I was talking about the importance of using different technology and different websites like Zillow and Realtor and websites of that nature. And now it's in our industry, it's who can collect the data faster. I was reading an article, and it was talking about the most valuable companies, and it was the company that has the most data is the most valuable. That's going to be the wealthiest company out there. And being able to collect people's information and being able to automate processes is where everything is going. And so to get back to it, I'm sitting and talking to these people, and they're, hey, look, we've got somebody 15 years in business, and I was like, hey man, I totally understand. I can respect that. And I really didn't press much more on that. I said, if you ever want a second opinion, great, let me know. And at the end of really towards the end of our conversation, it's like, oh, he's not up to date with photos, technology, being able to market a property via social media, and really understanding it. And now, like, we look at where we're at now, people, Chris, I hate Georgia. How about them dogs? My buddy Chris over here, he's a client of mine. He went to Kentucky. My fiance's a Kentucky fan, and he's over here talking some smack. How about them dogs? Anyway, Alabama's going to destroy them in the SEC championship. How about that? But so I'm talking to this guy, and we're just talking about the pros and cons, and really being able to maximize the sale of their home. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing to them was. Sorry, my phone. Let me turn this thing off. I don't know how to do that. Y'all know how to silence an iWatch? Y'all get to see me. Oh, power off. Anyways, listen, we're not talking SEC football in here. That's a whole different podcast by itself, and I would be a terrible, terrible host if we're talking about football because I'm a salty old dog. But anyway, so getting back to it. Sorry. So I had in fact, I've got to tune these comments out. So I was talking to them, and they were talking about the ways and strategies and actually selling. They said the last time they sold the house, they sold it for sale to the owner, and it sold in the first 3 days. I said, great. I was like, let me let's shake hands, rub some of that good juju on me. I was like, because things aren't happening like that in today's market. And so I was just explaining to them, what we're doing a little bit differently, because they're asking me how the process was going on the house that we had listed. And I was just telling them, what we're doing as far as technology-wise, like where I started in real estate 2.5 years ago to where I'm at now. Like I used to be a big pro Zillow. Well, now I think that's one, they're trying to put real estate agents out of business, but two, it's a thing in the past. It's like, hey, I want to capture information before another agent grabs a buyer that fits our property. So we're now actively using Google and Facebook and using the analytics, the back end, to be able to capture people, using keyword marketing and things of that nature, so that we can get buyers before they ever get to the door. But I was sitting back and I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking about like all the changes that's what's going on. And so I changed so much. Like I almost wiped out my entire presentation of what we do. And today I've got a team meeting about going over all the changes. And it really, the biggest thing is like, man, it's always, if you're not a forever student, you're so far behind with all the moving parts. Since I've been in the business, I've changed CRMs, which is customer retention management. It's a database to where you can keep in track with all your existing clients, new leads, everything like that. But it's changing all the time. I went to a conference in Las Vegas, and they're talking about what they're doing to change. Like now they're getting it, and this has been out for a while, but they're tapping to everybody's IP address. So they go out and look at a website. Y'all have been on Amazon, and all of a sudden, what you looked on Amazon is starting to pop up in your in your Instagram feed, in your Facebook feed, and you're on Google and you're searching websites, and all of a sudden, those golf clubs that you're looking on Amazon is also popping up on Facebook. Or if you had a phone call or if you're having a conversation, like the other night we were talking about little people. We were talking about what's the appropriate word? Little people, I think, is the appropriate word. But we were talking about them, and there was one of my clients was a barber, and he was cutting hair, and there was little people there, and they had a conference, or they had a wrestling thing in town. But the next thing that, like, me and Erica were talking about last night is all of a sudden, little people started popping up on their Instagram. And it's crazy where everything's moving. But what I'm getting at is you have to be able and willing, really not even able, but you have to be willing to change. And change, we get so complacent with everything that we do, whether it's our life, whether it's our relationship, whether it's our business, whether it's at the gym. We get in a comfortable routine. And this will be the best year that I've had so far in real estate. We'll do, I think we're going to get pretty close to doing around 38 to, Erica said the world is watching and listening. It is. It's not only watching, but it's listening in too. But we're going to do close to $40 million, 160 plus transactions. And what I'm finding is that's nothing. All of a sudden, I see on my Facebook one of the guys that I met in Las Vegas, the guy's doing 1,000 plus transactions a year. And now all of a sudden, like on my Instagram, on my Facebook, his ads are popping up and they're targeting based on what I've been searching. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy where the technology's going. But like what it's making me think of is like, what can I do to be 14 steps ahead of the next person? And I know that's one thing that we've done really well. Like you can't go from being zero in the business to 300 plus transactions in 2.5 years if you're one, not working, but two, staying on top of it. So I've got it here. I want to see if you guys can read this. Well, you can't, so it's okay. But the ability to adapt, like right now I'm going through changing my sleeping patterns. Like right now I'm trying to wake up earlier. And so instead of, like I was having a really hard time from just going from like 7:30 to 5. Like that was a big jump. And I was like, I was not winning in that. And there's some people that can just boom, hey, make a change and adapt overnight. But I can't, I'm not that way. So now I'm starting to, instead of waking up at 7:30, I'm waking up at 7, and then once I get used to 7, I'm gonna go to 6:30, and once I get used to 6:30, go to 6, and then just slowly adapt to it, because it's the things that happen overnight are typically the things that don't last. So I appreciate the love, Brian. I appreciate that. Hey, give me some shares, guys, because this is some real stuff. And if you're not staying on top of this, if you're not implementing this into your business, if you're not implementing this into your relationship, it's huge. In fact, I'll take it. You can definitely see this in a business platform, but let's take it to a relationship. I was talking to my buddy Billy, and we were talking about the book, The 5 Love Languages, and he was like, "Man, what people don't realize is the 5 love languages is always constantly changing. Like you don't have just 2 different love languages. It's like whenever something's being fulfilled, then you're always going to have a need for something else. So it's an always adaptive style. So like let's say that someone's love languages, that they like to get words of affirmation and gifts. If they're getting all the words of affirmation and they're getting all the gifts, they're going to be happy, but eventually they're going to get used to that, so they're going to want to change. So, and maybe instead of that, maybe do like acts of service or whatever. I'm not getting deep into that, but I didn't think about that until he said that changes, because I used to always think, hey, it's one or the other. It's like, hey, it's this or that, black and white, but it's not. It's gray, and it just made me really think. And I'm talking about like, man, it's like now it's used to, you could just make a little bit of change, but now it's adapt or die, because there's guys that are 21 years old. There's guys that are 18 years old that are getting in this business that are way ahead of me. I'm 28 years old, but there's guys that are understanding technology now that are light years. You never would 15, 20 years ago to see like my office. The average age in my office is probably 27 years old. 27 years old. The average agent in my office is 27 years old. I'm 28. I own the company. 20 years ago, 15 years ago, that wasn't the case. And even still now, the average agent in our market is a 56-year-old female. Right now, we're at 154 transactions. I've got a bunch of guys in my office, a couple gals, but young guys, couple gals, couple rock star girls, but we're the outside. We're not the norm, but really I think the norm's changing. I think that day and age of it just being a box, everything being in a box is over. Everything is changing so fast, so rapidly now that it's wild. I mean, we're adapting faster now than ever. And it's crazy because I thought I was really good with technology, and I go to Nashville and I'm thinking like, I'm good with my CRM, and I'm looking at 14 different ways to utilize it. And they're talking about like different ways to cash flow with our CRM, like what other ways, like how can we go out and implement our business? And a lot of it's been out there forever, but the ways that you can tap in, you know, with being able to connect, there's like, there's an app now that you can go out and like this live stream, there's an app that you can go out and share on every single platform just by one app. You know, just think of those guys. Think about the innovators that are going out and making changes before. Those are the guys that are absolutely crushing it. And the guys that are dinosaurs, like, you know, now I see people that are, I hate to say it, older, you know, now they're kind of getting to the trends, and they're starting a Facebook page with 3 people, you know, or 10 people on it. I mean, you have the people that saw where Facebook was going with lead generation, with business. Like if you're on Facebook now and you're not using Facebook for business, you're a dinosaur. You are. I mean, if you're not utilizing Instagram, if you're using Instagram only for to post pictures of your breakfast and your dinner, you're a dinosaur. You know, if you're in business, if you're monetizing that and you're making that a business, then great, you're going to crush it. But no matter what, no matter where you are, whatever business you're in, whatever your life looks like, I like the dinosaur. Oh my goodness. I'm going to copy and paste that. Is that Kara, is that an emoji that's on, guys, if you are looking in the comments, look at that dinosaur emoji. That's funny. Is that something I can have? Is that a standard emoji? Anyways, I'm going to get that because I'm going to go out and label that and put that on a couple people's desks or send them a private message. But anyway, guys, what's up, Parker? Parker, the moral of the story, if I have an iPhone, I do have an iPhone, so great. Moral of the story is be willing to adapt, reach out and adapt. I was going through my listening presentation. That's really what stemmed this. I had a whole different segment I wanted to talk about, but I was just thinking about it from an open house yesterday. And speaking of open houses, most people think that open houses don't produce business. We've sold 10 houses. I will. All right. Pro tip, guys. If you don't know Jason Parker, he can give you all kinds of pro tips. But what up, Kate Smith? Kate Smith is a dinosaur, guys. I'm just kidding. She's up to date with it. But I was in an open house and we were redoing my listing presentation, and there's so much of my stuff that was just outdated. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, that's not even true anymore. So like I pulled my presentation back. I redid everything, and I was like, I've got to change this. Oh wow! So there's multiple different dinosaur emojis. I've got to turn off the screen because I get distracted. But end of the day, man, stay on top of it. Be creative. Think outside the box. Utilize the tools that are out there. If you have a business, utilize Facebook, utilize Instagram. One thing that I wasn't utilizing was LinkedIn. So now I'm tapping back into LinkedIn. I never used to put anything on YouTube. Now I'm like big into YouTube because that's where, the eyes, if you're in business and you're not having exposure, you're not putting yourself out there, there's going to be someone that's new in the business, that's hungry, that wants to change their life, that has kids, and they want to do something for their kids. They want to get out of rut, and they're going to take massive action to go out and change their business. So if you're not utilizing the programs, you're not utilizing the resources that you have, you're going to get put out of business. All of these big companies that never thought that they were ever going to go out of business, Sears, Toys R Us, all these businesses. Erica just hit on one. All these businesses are going out of business because they're not changing. I got to meet, in fact, I got to show you guys, I got to meet my man crush. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this guy. He is the GOAT. He's the greatest. His name is Peyton Manning. I got to meet him, me and Erica, my buddy Keith and his wife Katie. We got to meet him. Do y'all know this guy? If y'all know this guy, give me a hashtag Peyton. Hashtag Peyton if y'all like Peyton Manning, if you're a Tennessee ball fan. But anyway, so Peyton was talking about like the changes in football. And he was talking about like how Omaha got really big. And I live on Omaha Lane. I really am. Tim Tebow is not the greatest. Not even really close. But I like Tim Tebow. He's a good guy. But Peyton's the GOAT. He's always the GOAT. That's right. GOAT, the greatest of all times. But he was talking about like how Omaha got started. There was no such thing as sideline audio, but a few years back they started putting bigger mics on the sidelines so that you could hear the hits, so that everything would be bigger and better. And he was talking about like how Omaha wasn't audible. That was a change. That was him signaling that something needed to change, and that was just a key word. That wasn't the audible. That's just saying like, hey, it's time for a change. And that's now like he has Peyton's got the key to the city in Omaha, Nebraska. But he was talking about like the changes that the technology has come with football. Now, like everything has gone to where they have bigger mics, or everything's changing. Used to, and they record everything. So used to like you would study and have audibles. Well, now, I mean, they can go out and get live feedback on it. So they're studying against what they were doing. So they had to change. They had to adapt with everything so they could still, win. I mean, look at Tom Brady, Deflategate, right? He was on top of it. He knew where the balls were going to be. He went out and deflated all the balls. But anyway, so there's so many different stories. I encourage you guys, if you have a resource and you're not utilizing it, use it. If you know anybody that is in that same rut, or if you know anybody that's older that wants to get in top of the game, have them reach out. Like my buddy Rich is from Florida. He's like 63 years old, but he's still on top of it. He's like 6'10", bald as, doesn't have a single hair. Nice guy though, but he's on top of the technology even at 65 years old. I mean, the guy's in retirement, got a cane and everything, but he's on top of technology, always plugging in to stay relevant. So in the story, he's really not that old, but I give him crap. Yeah, he's definitely not the GOAT. Tim Tebow is definitely not the GOAT. But guys, reach up. I hope this has been of some value to you. Tune in next Monday. I come live every Monday at 12. If Brian's dropping the ball, I start at like 12:05, just depending on if we're having technical difficulties. But reach up, adapt, and if you're not changing, there's going to be some kid that's coming out that's going to adapt, and he's going to take your business away from you. So don't let him steal your business. All right? I'm out.